I want to now bring in Ishwara. Ishwara, while we are constantly looking at this visual of a projection that's insulting the CEO, that only shows the level of perhaps anger there could be among employees to take such a decision. It can't be just one person putting out that projection. And what are you looking at perhaps in the manner in which it is being reflected in the business market? Because it's not just about Twitter. It's more about Musk and how his other businesses, there have been employees even in SpaceX who have taken to public to say that he's been giving out ultimatums off and on. The behavior is questionable. So this could be something that even Musk will want to do some damage control on, or do you think he's just going to go ahead and make all these controversial actions anyway?
Well, you know, what Elon Musk will do, Pooja, is something that only Elon Musk can answer, because none of the people are able to understand. But as Abha was pointing out, we are seeing, there's a shift in the entire tech world. We are seeing how massive layoffs are taking place. But one thing which is sure is that the people want more clarity. I think it would be best for Elon Musk to sit down or to maybe have a town hall and talk with the employees exactly what's going on in his mind, because there is a lot of, people don't know. There is anxiety. And those who have been fired, they don't know what to do, and that is why we are seeing the kind of projections that are there on the building. Obviously, it is collective anger by the people in Twitter. All they want, Pooja, which I believe is a very fair ask, you and I also, we would also just want, the places where we work to give us a little bit of clarity, and that's exactly what Twitter employees at the moment are asking. They are just wanting to get some clarity. These abrupt decisions that Elon Musk is taking is impacting the lives of those people, and the anger can now be seen in the form of the projection. From the kind of images that are coming out now.
Yes. Abha, how should we look at this? Is this just about Twitter, a social media, microblogging giant website? Of course, it's very important, but is it just about Twitter? Will it affect the industry beyond Twitter as well? How are you looking at the business aspect of it? Because Twitter obviously also has its share of amount that goes in, not just for the employees, but for the website and more. It's about what the world leaders are on to become accessible, to give out statements. So there are many layers to what's happening with Twitter.
Absolutely. It's a big question, because at this stage, there is a slowdown coming when it comes to the US. We are seeing it in terms of the kind of stock performance. We're seeing it in terms of the layoffs that we're seeing across the board. So there are big concerns around some of these major companies. So first, you got to see it from the overall big tech angle. Then when we come to Twitter in particular, you're right, it's a huge cultural question as to what this is going to happen and the kind of influence it's going to happen. I think it's still early to tell. I think this move by these Democrats will be the first step towards trying to rein in Twitter, trying to rein in Musk. I mean, he's already been in a huge legal tangle with regards to the actual takeover itself. Now, of course, with this is the first time he's getting into regulatory hurdles with regards to Twitter. And it's barely just been a few days or a couple of weeks since he took over. So this just gives you an idea of what we're headed in for. But remember, Musk as a personality remains unfazed. Once he's kind of got something like a, bull by the horns, he's just ready to kind of go at it. So I'm not sure he's going to give up so easily. He's taken this over. He wants to make a point with it. He wanted to take Twitter over for a reason. He's talked about free speech and making it democratic and returning Twitter to what it was originally meant to be. But then he's introduced all these new features which users are not necessarily going to like. So it's a complete conundrum at the moment. And of course, when it comes to culturally and the way that people have quit at this point of time, he said that going forward to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we need to be incredibly hardcore, talking about intense working hours, talking about a need to come back to the office and so on, which has not gone down very well.
I find very interesting, Abha, isn't it, that he was in a constant face-off that, I will buy Twitter, which he did. Days later, he says, I want to reduce my time, perhaps give the reins to someone else to manage, while keeping Twitter still as the CEO and still making a lot of controversial direct actions. Elon Musk, as a person, as the world's richest person, perhaps doesn't have much to worry about. But this is also something that the world is watching very carefully. This is also about political influence. This is about, as we are discussing, cultural influence. But this is what I find interesting, is how Elon Musk is willing to step away also and yet take all these direct action and decisions, which has even upset a lot of people. But he doesn't seem to really mind most of it, which I think is very interesting at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he is always been, a step ahead, in terms of how he's viewing things and how he's expecting things to roll out. So, he made a joke on Twitter when all these resignations were rolling in, saying that how do you make a small fortune on social media? Start out with a large one. So, talking about his fortune, we say it doesn't matter to him, but his net worth has actually gone down quite substantially post this takeover, as he's had to shell out quite a fair bit on his own. He's taken a lot of debt funding also for this. So, we may think it doesn't matter, but it's fairly substantial. And so it does matter. He does have to make this work. A lot was riding on this. It's a giant where, fine, if it fails, it's a blip on a billionaire's empire. But, if you compare it to somebody like a Warren Buffett, who's managed to keep his wealth at a steady 100 billion over these last 10 years, then you've got a better example of really how to manage that. Nobody wants these roller coasters. So let's see what he does. I think it's too early to tell. He's going to need a few quarters, but I think it's the way that he's going about it
in the market, in the industry, and specifically with the outage that has happened. This is people not able to access it properly. There appears to be any sort of malfunction, in the sense resources must be a constraint right now. When your top designers are leaving in anger, when your employees are putting out insulting projection, there has to be a control that has to come right away. Or perhaps, we're already witnessing angry messages and tweets by employees on Twitter who are not even hiding their identity. So this clearly shows that Twitter, can we say, is at the verge of a collapse unless it is saved just in time, Abha?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to collapse just as yet. I think that's, well, I mean, we don't know, but I don't think it's going to collapse. Remember, Elon Musk has taken companies through the worst of their times and brought them back. You have to see what he's done with Tesla. So I think to write this off is a bit too soon. I think the regulators as well, the fact that they're trying to intervene is to try to course correct him, or to tell him how to get in sync with what's required of a platform like this. And I think that that's the tussle right now. In terms of employees, let's see how well he does in trying to bring people back into the fold, or bring a new set of people into the fold. It's a time of great churn in the tech industry. Do remember, like I was just saying, there have been a huge amount of layoffs, so across the board. So in terms of restaffing Twitter, and also remember, while people may be required in certain departments, Musk has been going on about how he wants a lean outfit. So he's not necessarily looking to fill all those spots. It's more about the Twitter that he is now going ahead in building, and in what kind of services he rolls out, and the kind of messaging really he puts forth, both to his users and to regulators.